My entire life revolves around what I do. And it's been like that for a long time, actually. My life is not really normal, like an average person. My entire life revolves around my training, whether it be powerlifting or bodybuilding. Bodybuilding's a little more in depth, but my entire life revolves around it. My name's Rheta West, and I am one of the owners, one of two owners of Hercules Gym here in Syracuse, New York. I have several all-time world records, historical, so that just means that in the world, in the history of powerlifting, in certain weight classes, I have lifted more than anybody else ever. And I've set 9 of them over the course of my powerlifting career, but I still hold a few, mostly in the squat, some of the totals, and that's because my squat is so big, but I have I'm a very gifted squatter. So I was also the first and only so far woman to ever hold the same all-time records in the same weight class at the same time. When I first started powerlifting, I was actually in a long-term relationship, and he was not very supportive of the female, of females lifting. He was a very old-fashioned, Irish man. And so for me to continue competing was starting to get more difficult. And so it came to a point where I had to make a choice, and I did choose to leave that relationship, and I took my kids and we continued on from there without him, so that I could do what I wanted to do. We finally moved to Syracuse, and when I didn't have a car one winter, I spent the entire winter walking roughly 4 hours a day, because I had to walk to work, then I walked back home, then it was the same amount to walk to the gym and back. And I've had 2 shoulder surgeries. I've torn my shoulder a couple times. Right now I have some issues with my knees, some torn patellas, some tears in my patellas. But nothing that hasn't stopped me from being able to work around it. I got the surgeries, I recuperated as soon as I could, just got back to the gym. I actually lifted while I was recuperating and rehabbing, but so outside of that, any other kind of obstacle, I don't know. I've been on my own for a very long time now, so I kind of, when I want something to happen, I make it happen. Nothing really stands in my way, so.
Rheta kind of just walks her own path. When she says she wants something, that's it. She gets it. Rheta wants the world record. Rheta just keeps grinding until she gets the world record. Rheta wants her IFBB Pro card. Rheta works until she gets her IFBB Pro card. So she doesn't really take it as shit. She just, it's kind of cool. She's her own person.
Bodybuilding didn't come until later, within the last few years or so. And I was never really intended to start bodybuilding. I knew the diet was going to be hard for me. It's a very disciplined diet I wasn't interested in. But I was, not that I'm at the end of my powerlifting career, but I've been doing it for a long time. And I like being at the top. And so I have been very encouraged that I might be so genetically and driven, inclined to be able to reach the top in yet another sport. And so that's why I decided to go ahead and give it a go.
Well, I think when she gets a goal in mind, she's all in, especially in this realm. So with like powerlifting, it's like I think the thing that not everyone understands is that determination and that will, because I've seen her do water cuts where she has to cut from 180 pounds to like 148 pounds. And like you talk to her and sometimes she'll be like, I don't know if I was gonna wake up, which is scary, but like no one would take themselves to that point other than her, I don't think.
When I did go into the bodybuilding, I'm not going to say it's unheard of, but it is rare to have been able to bounce from one sport to the other so fast. And they did kind of overlap because, you know, I took it upon myself to try and keep myself in shape to a certain degree. And it was bodybuilderish that I did. So, even though I won my first show, but that was I didn't have any competition. Still, the way that I looked on stage would have been worthy of a win, and that was just 4 months after my last powerlifting meet, and then a month later I got my IFBB Pro card, and that one was a huge class, and I did win first place in both Open and Master, and that's kind of the part that's you know, not exactly it's kind of rare. The person I am today, though. So the powerlifter I am, I would have to say Sandy McCaslin. She was the wife of the couple that I started powerlifting with, and she was a very strong and independent woman. I remember, okay, so there was a meet that I was doing, and I needed a certain deadlift for a certain total. It was my first 1,000-pound total, and she was out in the audience, and she's watching me, and so I got the first deadlift, which didn't get my total yet. I got the first deadlift, and I look out and I see her, and put my thumbs up, and she's like, you know, she puts her thumbs back up at me, and so I sit down and I'm waiting, and all of a sudden she comes up behind me and says, "I don't give a fuck what you just pulled. You better get the next one." And so that was the kind of person she was, and I don't know if I probably have always had that kind of personality in me, but I don't know if I was actually that forward with it before, but she certainly brought that out in me. And I think that was important to be the person that I am today, because you know, you can't be a precious little flower to get through the things I've done or be where I am. One of the worst things about bodybuilding was the mental aspect of it. There was a lot of things I didn't expect coming from powerlifting to bodybuilding that just really, it wears you down. It's like I said, powerlifting, I have a very strong will, extremely strong. I could be in a lot of pain, you wouldn't even know it. And powerlifting is different because I can take my ibuprofen, I can ice something, I can do whatever I gotta do, and I know I've got to squat, and I can suck it up, and I just squat, and then it's done. I go home and ice and do whatever. Whereas bodybuilding, it's constant. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That will has to be point on, and that's what got hard. Just having to be that. I'm good at being willful, but to have to be willful constantly like that, when you want to eat something else and you don't want to train or you want to whatever, something hurts. Bodybuilding nearly broke me the last time.
She just has tremendous willpower that other people don't have, and she's talented. So like genetically talented. So like the combination of the two is what makes her her, which is why she could just translate from being like one of the best powerlifters to like already a very good bodybuilder in a short period of time, which aren't always translatable.
She gives a lot of herself to help other people. Like when she, for example, when we went to the women's meet in Cincinnati, she was doing that meet, she was competing, and she still wrapped my knees at that meet. So I mean, she cares about other people's performances pretty much just as much as she cares about her own.
I will do anything. There is nothing I wouldn't do to help you figure out who you are, and express it in a way that you want to express it. I realize, because that's something that I think people aren't taught anymore, and it doesn't come naturally to them, and so I get a lot of gratification out of helping people figure out who they are, what they want, and getting it their own way rather than the way they think is supposed to be done or they think is cool. When people look back, I want them to, talk about how I was a strong woman who did what she believed was right, and without, any fear of what other people would think about it. And so I hope that people think, that I did that, and that I did that well, and I was still interesting because that's just who I was. But that I was strong inside and out. I want to be strong physically, but I want to be known for being strong inside as well. It has consumed every second of my life for over a decade now. and I get a little bit tired.